Hey guys, how's it going? We're back with another video, and today we're going to talk about two guitars that appear to be very similar, and a lot of people are asking, should I get a Mustang or should I get a Jaguar? In your head and on paper, they kind of look like they're pretty much the same guitar, you know? Two single coils, 24-inch scale length, and if you stop there, then, they're pretty much the same. But they're not. And this video is going to be about the differences between them. We're going to do some sound tests between the two of them. And at the end, I'll give you a recommendation on what I think you should get if you can only get one of these two. So let's start with the Jag. So the Jag, we did a video review of this whole guitar. If you want to get all of the details, you can watch that. But this one is a 24-inch scale length. This one is the vintage modified version, so it's got the hotter Seymour Duncan single coils. The main difference between this one and the Classic Vibe is the Classic Vibe has just a little bit lower output on the single coils. They're not as high output. Most of the rest of the specs are the same. So what do you get with this? Well, you get those Jaguar pickups, and you get this tremolo system, and you get this switching. Basically everything from here up is the same as the Mustang, and most of what's from here down is different from the Mustang. So with these pickups, you're going to get a little bit, or I should say a lot more treble. So if you're the kind of player who likes to use their tone knob to be able to take the treble out as opposed to trying to add treble using something else, I find with treble it's a lot easier to take it away than to try to add it. Then this one would be for you. And then the switching, which we went over in the video, but essentially you can have this one, both of them, or this one with a low cut, and then you have two circuits. One is the lead circuit, which is, it operates like a normal guitar, and then one is the rhythm circuit that gives the neck pickup only controls right here, and it's a little bit darker sounding. The tremolo system is another thing that's different on this one compared to a Mustang. With this one, your strings come over the bridge, and then they attach to this piece right here, and as you move this whole piece back here rocks, and it causes the bridge itself to rock back and forth as well. And because of the way that the strings are in the distance from the bridge to the tailpiece, such a long distance that it adds a lot of jangly character to the sound is the best way I can describe it. It makes it jangle and sparkle. That's part of the signature Jaguar sound. So in a nutshell, that's what you get with the Jaguar. And we will go over the specific sounds in the sound test in a few minutes. Let's talk about the Mustang now. Again, from here to here, it's about the same. Obviously, the headstock model logo is going to be different because they're different guitars. But these both have the vintage tuners. I forgot to mention that before. So instead of putting it through and wrapping it like you normally would, you drop it down in the middle. And we did a video on how to string those. We also did a whole video on this specific guitar as well. Some things to note that are different. Obviously, the pickups are different. So these are basically just Strat single coil pickups, but they're slanted in both positions. So that's kind of unique. For your switching, it's very simple. You can turn your bridge pickup on, or you can turn your neck pickup on. You can turn them both on, or you can turn them both on out of phase from each other. That's literally it. That's your only options. And I say only options, it's just like a standard guitar, but you get that out of phase. I would say that really the main difference there is you have out of phase here and you have low cut over there. So similar sounds but different, and we'll get to that in a few minutes. You have your one volume and tone. This controls both pickups at the same time. And then the tremolo system is very different as well. You have the strings coming over here, they come down, and then they go into this little bar here. And when you move the tremolo, it rocks this whole piece back and forth, and it makes this bridge rock back and forth as well. You don't really get the jangle on this that you get with the Jaguar, mainly because the pickups don't have as much treble in them because they don't have those claws, and you don't have as much of a string distance from the bridge down to the tailpiece part. So that's another main difference, is you don't get as much treble. I'd say that the pickups on the Mustang sound a bit beefier compared to the Jaguar. All right, so now that we've talked about on a base level what these guitars are, let's go ahead and put them through their paces in a sound test format. I'm going to play the same thing on both guitars with the same pickup, and we're going to see what they sound like compared to each other head to head. Then we'll talk about the results, and I'll give you my recommendation. Okay, so now we've heard him side by side. What did you think sounded better? That's the thing. What this comes down to ultimately is what you like the best. I wouldn't argue that either of these guitars is better than the other as like a final be-all end-all statement. It really depends on a couple of things. First, which one sounded better to you? That's probably the one you should go with. But there are a couple of things that you need to consider. For the Mustang is simpler to operate. The controls are much easier to change and use on the fly. It's lighter, and I think the tremolo works a little bit better. The Jaguar, on the other hand, can do pretty much everything the Mustang can do plus more. Now, it takes dialing in on the different switches and the different settings to get it there, and you do have that jangle that you gotta tackle. If you're not playing jangly kind of music, that is something that you have to think about. How are you gonna tame that extra treble? So that is another thing that you need to consider with the Jaguar, but it's also something that works in its favor. I would say if you want something that you can just pick up, plug in, and go, the Mustang is the one to get by far. If you're going to use the tremolo for things other than playing cowboy chords and surf, the Mustang is the way to go. If you're going to do grunge and punk and that kind of music, Mustang is the way to go. But if you're recording in the studio, or if you want to have ultimate control over all of the settings at a guitar level, hardly anything is going to beat the Jaguar at that of any brand, really. There aren't very many guitars that have all the switching combinations that the Jaguar has. Yes, you have to tame the treble. It is more complicated to operate, but once you learn it and start using it, it can be probably the most powerful tool in your arsenal. So there you go. I'm sorry I didn't give you a final answer. As for me, if I had to choose one or the other, what would I choose? I chose both. But But if I had to choose one, and just one, and I was going to a gig and I had to pick between these two guitars and I could only take one, which one would I take? It would be the Mustang. For the reasons I mentioned above, the simple switching, the better tremolo, and I just like the sound that the single coils sound a little bit beefier to me. I like it better. It's lighter. It feels easier to play. I would pick this one. But that doesn't mean that I don't like the Jaguar. I have it for a reason, and it is just ever so slightly beneath the Mustang on my tier list of the guitars that I own. So there you go. That's the comparison between the Mustang and the Jaguar. I really hope that you learned something from this, and hopefully I made the decision a little bit easier for you if you're trying to decide between the two. But really, the best answer is get them both. And if you can only get one, go based on what sounds best to you and what has the features that you need. So thank you very much for watching. I really appreciate it. Please join the Discord. The link is in the description. We can talk about guitar, gear, etc. It's pretty active nowadays. We talk about stuff all day in there. So yeah, catch me on a live stream soon. And thank you very much for watching again. Please subscribe, and I will see you next time. Keep on rocking.